Once there was a kind king who ruled a peaceful kingdom. He loved his people and worked hard for them. He had a wife, and he loved her very much. They were married for 7 years, but had no children. The king had a wise minister who was very loyal and helped him make good decisions. But one courtier was jealous of the king. He often made plans to take the throne. But the minister failed his plans. The minister disliked him and stayed alert to protect the king. One day, the queen suddenly felt weakness, her face pale and her steps unsteady. The king called the royal doctors. The doctors arrived soon, and the senior doctor examined the queen carefully. Then he smiled and said,
"Congratulations, Your Majesty. You are going to be a father."
The king was overjoyed and hugged the queen warmly. The news spread quickly throughout the kingdom, and everyone was overjoyed. At night, the minister was sitting with his wife, sipping tea, when a guard came in with news.
"Your Majesty, a man wants to meet you,"
he said. The minister got worried, and he told the guard to bring him. It was his detective.
"Your Majesty, Mr. Arthur is plotting against the king."
He then left just as fast. The minister reached the palace immediately. The king was surprised.
"What happened?"
he asked.
"Your Majesty, Mr. Arthur is plotting against..."
The king shook his head.
"Do you have any proof?"
The minister sighed.
"No, Your Majesty."
The king just nodded.
"Try to get some proof,"
he said. Disappointed, the minister returned home. He was still worried about the king. One night, the queen started feeling pain. "Oh my God!" she cried out, gripping the bed tightly. The king rushed outside.
"Go! Bring the royal doctors! Hurry up!"
he shouted. The servants ran, and soon a team of doctors arrived. They went straight into the queen's room. The king walked back and forth. Suddenly, the sound of a baby's cry filled the air. The king's face lit up with joy.
"Oh, my baby!"
he shouted. The servants had tears in their eyes. After a while, the doctors came out, and the senior doctor smiled.
"Congratulations, Your Majesty. You have a baby girl. She is healthy.
The king asked anxiously.
How is the queen?
The doctor smiled.
She is fine. Your Majesty.
The king rushed into the room.
Look, Your Majesty,
the queen said, holding out their baby girl. The king took her in his arms, tears streaming down his cheeks.
My girl will be my heir,
he said. He kissed her gently. The next morning, the news of the princess's birth spread throughout the capital and the kingdom. Sweets were being distributed everywhere. The people were overjoyed to have a king's heir. The minister came into the palace with his 4-year-old boy. The minister took the baby princess from the king and looked at her sweet face.
Your Majesty. Congratulations.
The king smiled.
I want our friendship to grow even stronger. Make your son my son-in-law,
he said. The minister's smile widened.
That would be our pleasure. Your Majesty.
One evening, the minister was in his bedroom when he suddenly heard shouting outside. He got worried and ran out. His wife ran after him. He shouted,
I think the king is in danger.
He reached the gate, where his servants had gathered. Some soldiers and his detectives were on their horses. One shouted,
The king is in danger.
The minister rushed back inside and grabbed his sword. His wife, worried, said,
God help you all.
They headed to the palace. They went to the back of the palace, climbed the wall, and jumped down. Inside the palace, there was chaos, sounds of swords clashing, servants and guards shouting. The minister and his men rushed to the king's room. The courtiers' men attacked the queen. She died, and the courtier turned to attack the king. The king shouted,
Oh, my queen!
The minister and his men fought fiercely to protect the king. Just then, one of the courtier's men struck the king with his sword, knocking him to the floor. The king shouted,
Save my daughter! Please!
The minister rushed to the baby's cot, scooped her up, and ran out. The courtier's men tried to strike at him, but two of the minister's men covered him. The minister quickly ran back to the wall. He laid the princess on the floor, took off his shirt, bundled her up, and hung the bundle around his neck. Then, he began to climb the wall. Meanwhile, an arrow hit his arm. He climbed down outside and ran to his horse, galloping away as fast as he could. He reached the neighboring kingdom, laid the princess at a doorstep, and left. Then, he fainted at a nearby church. In the morning, a man came outside from his house and found a baby sleeping at his doorstep. He was surprised and took her in his arms. He called his wife.
Dear! Look, a baby!
She came out and was surprised.
She looks like a little princess.
Both of them were overjoyed, since they had no children of their own. The lady then went into the kitchen, warmed some milk, and fed the baby. The priest came out of the church and found a man lying there. He woke him up and took him inside, offered water and food, and tended to his wounds.
Who are you?
The priest asked. The man didn't answer, then left after a few days. After a few days, the couple with the baby came to the church. The priest saw her and said,
She looks like a princess.
The lady replied,
She is not ours. We found her at our doorstep a few days ago.
The priest didn't say anything. One day, a relative from the neighboring kingdom came to the priest, looking very sad. He said,
The king and queen were killed by a courtier. And the princess and the minister are missing.
The priest thought,
So, he was the minister. And that's the princess.
The minister reached back to his kingdom and secretly lived in a deep forest. He began to gather his men. He sent a message to his wife.
I'm safe.
16 years passed, and the princess grew into a beautiful young girl. She started learning cooking and was well versed in household chores. In the meantime, the minister gathered a force against the courtier. One night, he said to his men,
It's time to take action. The next night, we will attack the palace and take revenge for our beloved king and queen.
His eyes were burning with revenge. The next night, the minister and his men quietly entered the palace. The minister crept into the prince's room and killed him. The prince's scream echoed through the palace. The courtier and his wife rushed out of their room.
Guards!
The courtier shouted, and a fight erupted. The minister attacked his wife and killed her.
No!
The courtier screamed. But the minister moved forward and struck him down too. The courtier's men finally surrendered. The whole kingdom was overjoyed the next morning. The minister brought his son to the neighboring kingdom to meet the princess.
You are a princess of our kingdom,
He said.
A courtier killed your parents for the throne. I saved you. Your father engaged you with my son when you were newborn. Now, I have taken revenge for our beloved king and queen.
The princess burst into tears, remembering her parents. Her foster parents had tears in their eyes too. The princess said,
You are my parents. Please, let's go with me.
Then all of them reached the kingdom. The princess sat on her throne, and her father's wish was finally fulfilled.